Hariom. So we're going to be starting our micro lessons specifically for our pre and postnatal yoga teacher training. So you're already all teachers. So the practices that we're going to do, we want to relate specifically to pregnancy. So we're going to be imagining that we are teaching a group of pregnant women. So what we're going to do with our micro lessons is that we are going to divide up. We're going to have particular times of the day which we're going to book in, and we're going to teach those in the group, and you're going to just this week going to do micro lesson number 1, which is where you're going to be opening a class and doing 3 warm-up practices. So you're going to do that, and then after you've done that, there's going to be a little bit of discussion, some feedback. We're going to look through the checklist. Your supervisor will be there to help out, and then the next person will do their micro lesson. So it's really, really interesting. It's really good practice, and it's really good to have support of others around you. And you also learn a lot. You learn a lot from practicing, but you also learn a lot from everybody else too, and what they're doing, and every mistake that they make, you're also learning. So micro lessons are a really lovely practice to be doing. So let's look at micro lesson number 1. So you're going to ask your students to sit in a meditative position, and you can give some examples, like you might say sitting in a cross-legged position, or swastikasana, the auspicious pose, or maybe Ardha Padmasana, the half lotus, or Padmasana, the lotus. It will depend on the students that you have. If they're not comfortable in a cross-legged position, you might ask them to sit in Vajrasana, the thunderbolt pose, or you might get them just to have their legs in front, and they might even be having their back against the wall. So giving them examples and making sure that they're going to be comfortable. So obviously some women might prefer to have like a little cushion or something underneath them so that their spine is upright. And especially any woman who is having back pain, then it's important that she's not going to be really hunching over when she's in that sitting position. So that's where sitting on a cushion or something will make her hips a little bit higher and her spine more upright. So making sure that she's going to be comfortable. All of your students are going to be comfortable. You also want to say things like, keeping your spine upright. You want to tell everyone to relax. So you're talking about relaxing the face, the shoulders. You want the chest to be open. You want the head to be upright. And then you can talk about all of the body, or you can just talk very briefly. It's not going to be a really long practice. The opening should really only take a couple of minutes, and then moving on to the warm-up. So, maybe about 5 minutes, 6 minutes, depending on what kind of warm-ups you're going to be doing. So making sure that she's going to be comfortable. So I've talked on relaxation and breath awareness. So just telling her to have a couple of breaths in and out, trying to slow the breath, or just being more aware of the breath, like following the breath as it flows in and out. So all that kind of thing could be done at the beginning. You can also make a resolve or remind them of the resolve. And I feel it's really, really important practice in pregnancy to have that resolve or that sankalpa. I would suggest that you have a read of the chapter in your book on sankalpa, and there'll be some other practices we'll give about how to find the sankalpa. But for pregnancy, if you're teaching a general pregnancy class, then you can have a sankalpa like, I want to have a happy, healthy pregnancy, birth and baby. This is a common one, but there are other ones that you might decide to give for everybody, or you might I've already talked with them about having their own personal sankalpa, and that's where you can just remind them about their sankalpa. So it's especially powerful if you get them to remember their sankalpa when they inhale instead of the exhalation. So inhaling, remembering one sankalpa, and exhaling, relax. So talking about all of these things, you can also ask your students to bring their hands into a mudra of your choice, or you may want them to keep their hands on their belly. Either option is fine to do. If the hands are on the belly, of course, you're building the connection there, which is always lovely. And the different types of hand mudras are all having their own benefits. So after you've got them to do that, you're going to chant Om. So this time you're going to chant Om and you're going to get everybody to repeat it. So it's especially useful to do this in the beginning, because if you've got new students, they should hear how your Om is so they know how to chant it, because otherwise it can be a problem that you have a group of women or whatever, and one of them is really long, one of them is short, one of them is super loud, one of them is really quiet, one of them is doing the sound for like really long, another one is doing the ma sound for really long. So if you demonstrate it by chanting Om, then they will hear it clearly and they'll be easily able to replicate that. Now, of course, there are lots of different ways of chanting Om, and you've had the lecture on Om with Mrs. Manlik, so you'll have that understanding already. But we have found that the 2-second 3-second U, and 5-second Ma is very comfortable, and it is also something that people can do for longer periods of time. So many people might say, oh, I do my Oms much longer. I'm doing them for 20 seconds or 30 seconds. But they can only do it like 3 times. Whereas we want to be able to do Om chanting for longer periods of time. Of course, not for the opening of a class, but for the end or for a different meditation. We want to be able to chant Om, whether it's 5 minutes or 10 minutes or half an hour, without finding that we're getting worn out. And this is especially important in pregnancy, because we want to be able to chant with our mouth and jaw relaxed, because it's really important to have a relaxed jaw. There is a link between the jaw and the uterus. So in pregnancy, we try to keep the jaw relaxed, because the time of birth, if the jaw is really tight, the uterus and the cervix can be very tense. So that's just something to be aware of. But anyway, it is important that we try to keep the jaw relaxed, whether a person is pregnant or not. We want to be doing that. So we want Om chanting always to be relaxing. So you've chanted your Oms, and then you can chant, say, the initial prayer, which is the one that I've been doing. Or you can chant something else. It might be another prayer that you like to do. You can chant it, and then you can get everyone in the group to repeat it. It might be that you want to do another mantra, like you might want to do, say, Gayatri mantra or Mahamrityunjay mantra, or you might want to do a mantra from another culture. It doesn't have to be in Sanskrit. It can be any language that is comfortable for you, that you're happy to do it in. Just remember that you have to break it down. So if you just chant the whole thing and expect everyone to repeat it, it's going to be really hard for them. So you need to divide it. So whatever language it's going to be in. You might decide that instead of them repeating it, you just chant it and they just listen to it, especially if it's a little bit longer. Or you might decide that you want to just do some kind of relaxation, just relaxing, all parts of the body in that sitting position. You might want to have awareness of the breath, maybe just a really simple breathing exercise. Whatever it may be is fine. The whole point of opening the class is to get them to be comfortable, to be calm, to be focused, and be motivated. And then after that, you're going to ask your students to release that meditative position, and then you're going to practice 3 different movements for the body as a warm-up. So you can decide which ones you want to do. So any of the ones that we've been doing in the class or that you've seen that's in the book are fine for you to be doing, whether it's just some movements of the neck or the shoulders or the wrists or the hips or the knees or the feet. You might decide that you want to come up to standing and do some warm-up movements. That's all fine, but we're not doing asanas as such. We're just doing some movements. So those are your warm-up practices that you'll be starting with. Now see the last point here, it says please note that you do not have to chant the initial prayer. If you want, you can use your own prayer, relaxation, visualization, or positive affirmations. So I've already mentioned about some of them, but you can definitely have a visualization if you prefer that. You'll see that there's some different visualizations in the book as well. Or you can have some kind of positive affirmations, and that's really lovely to do, especially in the last trimester when she's getting closer to childbirth. So you can talk about, how strong the body is, and how a woman has that internal wisdom, all of this kind of stuff to empower her, to make her trust her body and have faith in her body. So there's lots of things that you can be including for that opening of the class. So looking at the micro lesson checklist, so there's a few things you want to make sure that you're going to be covering when you're doing the micro lesson. So including some Om chanting, definitely. As I've mentioned, it's up to you whether you do a mantra or not. We don't mind, but definitely put the Om chanting in. Then the Sankalpa or resolve. And then making sure that the atmosphere is going to be really relaxed and calm, and it's going to bring focus to all the women. You want to make sure that there's going to be a little bit of relaxation. So whether it's just a quick scan of the body and making sure that the body's feeling relaxed, or just noticing how the body's feeling, if there's any tension or tightness, and trying to relax it. A little bit of breath awareness. How much of that you do will depend on what you're including in your micro lesson. And then when you move on to the movements, so you want to make sure that they're going to be really slow. You want the movements to be correlated with the breath. So you don't want to have like these fast movements without any kind of breath linked at all. And you want to make sure that there's not going to be any kind of jerking or anything like that. So basically, if you're doing the movement slow, if you're correlating it with the breath, then it's going to really increase their awareness of their body. But it's also going to have a really nice calming effect on their mind too. So it is important that our movements are nice and relaxed and slow. Then the next point you can see being comfortable in pregnancy. So of course you want to make sure that everyone feels good, that nothing is going to be too strong, that the meditative asana is going to be suitable. So having the different options, and also for some of those warm-up practices, making sure that they are really suitable. So for example, some things you might do in a regular class, but you have to change around a little bit for the pregnancy version. So make sure it's very suitable. And then of course you want your voice to be calm, relaxing, to be supportive, not judgmental, to be a good volume, so loud enough that everyone can hear clearly. And of course it's going to be different in a Zoom session compared to when it's there in a room, but you also want it to be not too quiet but not too loud either. So it should be calm, and it should also be confident. So everyone should feel that you know what you're talking about, because then they will also feel very comfortable. So those are the things about the checklist, so things that we want to make sure that we're going to cover. So when there is some discussion after you've done your practice, everyone will just look at their checklist and say, oh, okay, yep, she did Om chanting, it was very nice, it was clear. Or maybe someone said, oh, I couldn't hear it very well. Of course, connections can be a problem there too. Then talking about, okay, the movement, she did 3 movements, they were nice and slow and relaxed. So that's the checklist that we're going to be going through. So now you're going to see just a short example of a micro lesson. And now you can start preparing. So when you prepare, make sure that you can have some paper, you can write some notes down. If you need to, you can do a practice run if you want to, or if anyone is around that is willing to be your guinea pig for that. And get ready for the weekend. Hariom. Hariom. So welcome to our class today. So make sure that you're going to be sitting comfortably. So you might want to sit in a cross-legged position. you might want to bring one foot in front of the body and the other, or you might want to raise a foot up. So you could be in Swastikasana, the auspicious pose. You might want to put your foot up in Ardha Padmasana, the half lotus pose. Or if you prefer not to do a cross-legged position, you could also be sitting in Vajrasana. So whatever is most comfortable for you. If you like, you can have a little cushion underneath to lift your pelvis a little bit higher. And we're going to bring our hands into a mudra today, Yoni Mudra. So we're going to interlock the fingers and have the index and thumbs touching and resting in our lap. So closing your eyes, keeping your spine upright, your shoulders relaxed. Relax your face and relax your body. Taking a deep breath in and out. And again, a deep breath in and out. Just notice how your body feels. Notice the breath as it flows in and out. And now, as you inhale, remembering your resolve for a happy, healthy pregnancy, birth and baby, and exhale, relax. Again, inhale, remembering that resolve for a happy, healthy pregnancy, birth and baby. Exhale, relax. And one more time, inhale, remember that resolve. And exhale, relax. And now we're going to open our class with 3 Oms and then the initial prayer. So you can repeat after me. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Deva, Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat, Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri, Gurave Namaha, Gurave Namaha, Gurave Namaha. Gently opening your eyes. So we'll release our Yoni Mudra. We're going to do a few warm-up practices. So we're going to start by having our fingertips on our shoulders. We'll do some shoulder rotations. So bringing your elbows towards each other. Inhale, slowly raising your arms up and exhaling down. Again, inhaling up and exhaling back. So down and back. Again, inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. We're going to go the other way. So this is just really nice for releasing any tension in your shoulders, opening up your chest and your upper back. So inhaling, bringing the elbows back this time and up. Exhaling down. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale and exhale. Okay, shake out your shoulders. We'll do a movement for your neck to relieve any tension that's there accumulated. So inhale and exhale, bring your chin down towards your chest. Inhale, rotating to the left. Inhale to the back. Exhale, right. Exhale to the front. Now inhale to the right. Inhale to the back. Exhale, left. Exhale to the front. And inhale, slowly bringing your head up. We'll do it one more time. So inhale. Exhale, bringing your chin down towards your chest. Inhale, rotating to the left. Inhale to the back. Exhale to the right. Exhale to the front. Inhale to the right. Inhale to the back. Exhale left. Exhale to the front. And inhale, slowly bringing your head up. Okay, now we're going to do the butterfly pose, Tigliasan, as a movement. So this is a nice warm-up practice for the hips and inner thighs. So bring the soles of your feet together. Bringing your feet close to your body as long as it's comfortable. If it's a little too strong, you can keep your feet a little further away. Remembering here that if it doesn't feel comfortable at any time to avoid this practice. So here we're holding our feet, we inhale, raising our knees up and exhaling down. Inhaling up, exhale down. Inhale up, exhale down. Inhale up and exhale down. And just holding it for a moment. Keeping your spine upright, breathing normally, and releasing. Okay. So we've finished here our 3 different warm-ups. Hari Om.